and welcome to our fireside chat, Step into the Future with Kiosks, the importance of self-service technology, and a conversation between Connect&GO and Olea Kiosks. Connect&GO is a global leader in attractions management technology with a flexible and easy-to-use operations management platform. Our all-in-one management platform seamlessly integrates e-commerce, point of sale, F&B, RFID access control, and cashless payments. Using our virtual wallet, we help you drive revenue and maximize guest engagement with valuable data insights in real time. For Connect&GO, we have Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing, Tara Morandi. And for Olea, we have Account Executive, Jared Epstein.
Hello.
Olea Kiosks is a family-owned and operated kiosk manufacturer based in California. After over 40 years building the first kiosk, they are a global leader in kiosk design and manufacturing and are now based in an 81,000 square foot factory designing and building only kiosks. Let's hop straight into our chat. It seems like self-service is trending more and more every year, but what's the importance of utilizing self-service technology? And what other industries are currently using kiosks?
Yeah, so I guess I can start this one off. We at Olea, we actually just focus on kiosk hardware. So we manufacture hardware for pretty much any industry that you can find a kiosk in. We have kiosks in the airports, schools, restaurants, attractions, hospitals, pretty much anywhere, like I said, that you can find a kiosk application, we try to be there. I would say the importance of self-service in general across all industries is with the labor shortage that seemingly everyone is facing right now, there's certain tasks that just work better with self-service and that the customers actually want to handle themselves. And that would be something like ordering a ticket, ordering food, purchasing a movie theater ticket, checking into a hotel, checking into a hospital, and things like that.
Yeah, and I think for the attractions industry specifically, the kiosks are really helping combat the labor shortages. And what's happening is by utilizing kiosks, we're increasing the speed and efficiency of transactions, which eventually moves guests out of lines. Nobody likes to come up to the front gate with a big lineup out front. And so I think that kiosks can really elevate the guest experience and move people into the park to spend more money quicker.
And what are benefits that operators can gain from investing in self-service like kiosks? Like what can be sold on them?
So I think from the attractions industry perspective, historically, the industry has been a little behind on technology. It's maybe been inaccessible or too expensive from an operator perspective. But, as we move forward into the future, really using kiosks is way more accessible and affordable for operators. They not only alleviate pain points for staff, especially during the busy season, but also when you think about the cost of a kiosk versus hiring additional staff, I think that makes a big impact. And, teaching people how to use kiosks at the front gate, getting them through quicker, I think seasonal businesses specifically have unique challenges for staffing to overcome, and kiosks help them get through that.
Great insight, you guys. Thank you. So what are some of the benefits operators can gain from investing in self-service technology like kiosks?
The first benefit that comes to my mind is when you think of kiosks in the attraction space, you think of a ticketing kiosk and selling a ticket. Where selling a ticket is a pretty easy task for anybody to do. Where it gets more hard is actually asking for more than just the ticket. So an attraction may have an upsell or a combo or something like that, a season pass, something more than just what they came for. And when an operator is putting that trust in a box office attendant, that box office attendant may get some anxiety of asking for more than what they came, or they may feel some type of way about maybe selling to that customer, where the kiosk is actually going to be configured to ask that question every single time if that's the option that you're going with. So what that does is that actually alleviates me as the consumer who's using the kiosk or going up to the ticketing window. You don't have someone selling more to you. You actually just have a question that you're answering on the kiosk. And that question is actually value add because hey, did you know that we offer a season pass, or did you know that we offer this combination, something like that. And it's really just the kind of psychology behind self-service, where a human isn't selling to you. It's more just asking if you know what that attraction is offering.
That's a really great point, Jared. And kind of to expand on that as well, transforming simple tasks like selling a ticket that fills up your staff's day, you know, introducing kiosks allows you to bring more value to the guest experience. So instead of guest services focusing on those minute tasks, guest services can now focus on solving actual guest concerns. And so, what happens is it makes the guest experience a little bit better because needs are taken care of, right? True problems that can't be solved by a non-human are now more easily accessible. And I think the second part from a kiosk perspective is, it keeps up with the instant gratification that we're all getting used to. You order something on Amazon, it gets delivered right now. I can order Uber for my child and Uber Eats for my child and have food delivered really quickly. And so our kiosk software specifically is super flexible, and it offers a really kind of fluid, quick sales process that people recognize because we're all used to our mobile devices. My 8-year-old can use my phone, I think, better than, some adults. And so keeping in with that, the way that we've designed our software to work on Olea Kiosks is super fluid, intuitive, easy to use, and quick. And so we're kind of used to that in our society.
What are some best practices for kiosk placement, and really adding to that flow to get people to use your kiosks?
So I have a really good story about this. It's not like this is being recorded, so I can definitely use names, right? No. So in the food service space, we did a pilot for a pretty large brand. They took it for a 30-day pilot. They wanted to test our hardware with customer software, and we hadn't heard from them that whole 30 days. We were following up, trying to understand where are they at. Are they okay with it? Where did they put the kiosks? We had no information, no visibility to that. We heard back on day 30th that they're taking them out and they're not moving forward with not just our kiosks, but not moving forward with any kiosks at all because it was a complete failure. We didn't understand that because, again, it seems like the world is trending towards self-service. So to hear that not only is it not just our hardware, it's kiosks in general was very weird. So we actually went over to the pilot site and we realized that the kiosks are not being used because when you walk in the restaurant, there's a small little hallway along the backside that goes to the bathrooms. The kiosks were actually lined up in that hallway. So the customer had to go through the front door, see the point of sale, turn and maybe use the bathroom before they were ordering in order to order on that kiosk. Otherwise, the natural flow of the restaurant was going right to the point of sale. So we gave our recommendations, told them that, hey, in order for the kiosk to be used, you have to have that part of your actual flow. There was also no signage saying that there's kiosks over there. There was no branding saying there's kiosks over there. So the customer literally kind of would have to fall on the kiosk to actually see it and order. So best practices in terms of placement and flow is to, if you're setting yourself up for self-service technology, you have to fully kind of engulf that whole entire self-service system and put it right in front of the customer to use. So a lot of brands will say that the aesthetics of having a kiosk right when you walk in the door is not nice. But in terms of the functionality and using that kiosk, you do want to put it in front of the person and in front of that natural order flow or the natural customer flow of that restaurant, attraction, movie theater, whatever it is that's going.
Yeah, Jared, I think you're 100% right on that. Just like the real estate business, location, location, location. I think location is absolutely everything when it comes to placing kiosks specifically. And, you want to make sure that you're creating a connected and cohesive experience with kiosks by placing them in somewhere, that is recognizable and accessible to guests. The other thing you want to do is make sure that you're not placing it where people are already standing in line and causing more congestion than you're solving for. By placing kiosks and letting people know with signage, which is really important, right? Yes, it's a self-serve technology, but we have to direct guests on how to use it, make sure that they understand. From the attractions industry perspective, you can use kiosks for ticketing. You can buy day tickets, you can buy season passes, you can, buy add-ons, you can, don't forget F&B if you want to add meal plans onto it. So, those are the ones that are kind of front facing. Within some of our clients as well, they've also placed kiosks within their attraction. So once we've gotten people through the front gates, how do we get people out of line in, the food and beverage outlets or the gift shop outlets? Cashless reloads. So we have customers usually utilizing kiosks within their attractions that somebody can go up easily and reload cashless onto their wristbands and then go off and spend that somewhere else. And so from that perspective, just making sure what people can utilize the kiosks for is really important. And then the second thing is maximizing kind of pre-arrival revenue by making sure that your self-service technology has a smooth purchase flow. So is it easy to add tickets to the cart? Is it easy to, is there an upsell opportunity? Can you add a meal deal? Just making that as smooth as possible is kind of one of the most important best practices.
And that's something that you guys have done really well from what I've seen is the flow of the actual UI of the kiosk to keep that customer speedy transaction so that way they're not queuing up in line, like you said.
Yeah, we made sure that we've gotten feedback from both operators who kind of know their business as well as, guests to say, what are we missing? How do we do the touch point? And that's something I'm really proud of because our kiosks have been such a huge hit from IAPA and, people seeing them and be able to touch and feel and see what that flow looks like. It's a product that I'm actually really proud of.
Same.
I think that you guys touched on a lot of great things. And in talking about how flexible and very user-friendly the system is, also something that you both talked about was that education aspect, right? Yes, the system can do a lot, but also from an operator standpoint, you really want to make sure that that signage and getting that with any new technology, getting that information out to your guest to keep that frustration down is super important. So making sure they know how to use it, what to expect during their visit, signage, all of that. I think that is a great way to really make sure that you're getting the most out of your kiosks, right? Which is what everyone wants at the end of the day. And I know we've touched on a lot of benefits of kiosks and best practices and things like that, but there are also some misconceptions out there about what kiosks are and what they're doing to, the attractions industry. So what are some of those misconceptions that you guys are aware of comes to self-service and kiosks?
I definitely have one misconception I come up against with a lot of clients that we're talking to, and that's them basically saying, I don't know if I can afford kiosks. I think the misconception is that they're really expensive and, they don't want to make that initial investment, but they're not considering overall labor costs, benefits, healthcare, et cetera, of that staff member that they're taking out of the mix and replacing it with technology.
Operators aren't used to spending a upfront some amount of money on hardware like this to sell a ticket or to do something like what we're talking about. But yeah, when you really look at the longevity and how much money they're saving in the long run, even over that first year in terms of a staff member, the numbers clearly even out.
The ROI on it, the kiosk, like our Connect&GO kiosk, we use, the reason we partnered with Olea, it's very robust. It handles so many different transactions. It's got the payment terminal on it as well. We've got indoor kiosks, we've got outdoor kiosks. And so I think evaluating, looking at ROI, how much is the initial investment, but how many more people are we getting through? What is the timing per transaction? What's the increase in transactions overall with upsells, cross sells? Those are all things that need to be weighed when we're looking at an investment like this.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear that the biggest misconception you hear is on the finance side, because on the manufacturing side of things, the biggest misconception I hear is about kind of removing the human aspect of the guest experience, and that the kiosk is kind of, it's this machine and there's no human interaction in the guest experience anymore. this actually allows, like, having a self-service kiosk allows operators to use their staff in other ways that benefit the customer, not just being stuck behind the ticket window. So anytime that people are replacing point of sale with kiosks or supplementing them both, we always recommend to have at least one kiosk ambassador. The hospitality industry does this really, really well, where there's a bunch of check-in kiosks and you have one or two who would have been point of sale operators, but now they're greeters, kiosk greeters or kiosk ambassadors that are there to fully show the customer the whole entire flow on the kiosk. Because like we said before, it's a big learning curve for somebody that's never seen this, that doesn't know your software, that doesn't know how to use the kiosk. So to have someone be there right in front, or not even in front of them, side by side, clicking the buttons with them to show them how to use that kiosk, the next time that customer comes through, they don't only know how to use it, they like using it because of that interaction that they had with that kiosk ambassador. So I think that's really important. The other thing, again, with kind of the misconception of taking away the human aspect, nobody's ever come to me saying, hey, Jared, I want to fire my point of sale staff, so I need kiosks. The problem is, hey, Jared, I can't hire enough point of sale staff and I need kiosks. So I don't think kiosks are essentially eliminating staff or eliminating anything like that.
The staffing shortages are affecting, how people are operating, the hours they can operate, what that guest service experience is like. And so for us being able to supplement that in, I think that's why we've had such interest in kiosks and people bringing them in.
Yeah, and I think it's a change of thought process, right? It's not getting rid of staff. It's to fill the gap from the staffing shortages, but also being able to reallocate your staff, right? So now they're not just selling tickets all day. They can do other things to really elevate that guest experience, because your guests are using kiosks to purchase their tickets and their bigger items, right? Of course, we have to ask, like, how can you be sure that your kiosk deployment is successful? Like, what are some of the things that an operator should consider in the process, or anything like risk factors that they can mitigate to really make sure that this is a success once they implement?
So similar to what we were talking about with the story that I gave about the placement, I'd like to tell people that when they're going in on kiosks, you kind of want to go all in. And I promise I'm not just saying that because I sell kiosks and I want them to buy way more. But it really is, like I said, there's a big learning curve for a guest that's never used the kiosk. So you want to reduce the focus on the point of sale and put the focus on self-service. Having signage so customers know what you can do on the kiosk and where the kiosk is very important. But also, like I said, those kiosk ambassadors, I mentioned the hospitality industry, but there's a lot of industries like the airlines. You used to see a giant line coming from the person at the actual desk. Now you see like 6 kiosks lined up with the one person still at that desk and one person behind, just to make sure everything's operating well. So I really think that, yeah, to really go all in on self-service and making sure that everyone from the customer to your staff is okay with it and accepting that technology.
After that sort of initial placement and the signage that is properly placed and the ambassadors, we also have to recognize that not every guest will be comfortable using the kiosk. So we can't completely eliminate every touch point. That just won't happen. But the reality is even the guests who aren't using the kiosk, they still benefit from them because they're shorter lines to access guest services or access the admission, the person sitting at admissions. And so with other guests getting out of line, utilizing those kiosks, I think, it's a benefit for both those using it and those not.
We have talked about a lot of things with implementation and the benefits of purchasing kiosks. But there's a reason why the two of you are on this chat with me. So I really want to talk about what's the difference in self-service technology and self-service technology through the integration that Connect&GO and Olea has. How does that really benefit operators who are looking to integrate kiosks into their business? And, what do we all bring to the table?
Well, I think, aside from the fact that Jared is a great guy in general, I think when we as Connect&GO, we're looking for a hardware partner, we wanted a company that kind of aligned with our own values and the quality standard. And so for us, we looked at quite a few vendors who supply kiosks and maybe didn't have the experience in the attraction industry as we were looking, but a company that had the same company values, who had the same standard for quality, and that was Olea for us. And Olea, their kiosks they stand out. They're beautiful. They're robust. They're easy to use. I think looking at why we chose Olea partners because they represent us best, and they're as committed to our clients as we are. And so for us to choose Olea as a partner and maintain the standard of service of delivery and response time and a product that we're proud of, Olea was definitely the partner for us.
And that means a lot because I know your standard of quality and everything you guys stand for. So that really does mean a lot.
Mine personally.
Yeah, and for me, the hardware software integration, we worked well before an order for Connect&GO was placed. We were already working on what components you guys are using, where those components are going to be for the best ease of use for your customers. And you guys are also the attractions industry has a lot of big players like yourself, and you guys are coming in with RFID technology, totally cashless, topping up your RFID bracelet to then go order food and beverage or unlock your lockers or anything like that. There's so many different things that you guys kind of are pushing us on. Even RFID is pretty new to us. So, you guys are really kind of pushing the curve and getting us looking in that direction as well. So, this has been we've only been partnered for just over a year now. And I know that we've had a lot of success together.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things for us too in choosing Olea is the kiosks are manufactured in the US. So for us, we have a lot more control of the supply chain of, replacement parts, even though we haven't needed any, Jared, that's an ode to the robustness of the kiosks, but really having more control over what that looks like, the access to them, a delivery time, and just a partner that we can easily get a hold of. That was really important to us as well.
Yeah, and kind of a little shameless plug here, but being in the US, if you guys ever have customers that wanted to check out the factory, or I know that you guys will come down and we're very easy to work with in that sense. We love people coming down to the factory, checking out what we're up to, and we don't have a software demo to show, so we really like showing what we're working with in the factory.
Yeah, for us, I'm actually on site right now at a customer deployment. They are deploying kiosks for their front of house as soon as people come in to buy tickets. And not only do they look beautiful, but the client is excited to get them up and running and, the placement for them. So I'm really excited to see how those turn out.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know.
Thank both of you for jumping on this with me and going through so much very valuable information. And then thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.